Salt Lake City, Utah. Please make some noise for Josh Johnson!
There's a lot of times when you're reading the news, going through all these stories that are deeply depressing. Every once in a while you get something that's a little, I don't know, a little spark. Something that takes your mind off of all the bad stuff, even if it is one of the bad things, you know? Like, I don't know if y'all saw, but Diddy's lawyer trying to quit. Diddy. If you're not familiar, Diddy is gonna be buried under a prison, but in the Constitution, for as long as we have one, there are things for as long as we have a Constitution, there are things laid out in it that state your rights as a citizen, you know? And your rights in court. You have the right to not incriminate yourself. You have the right to an attorney. You have the right to a speedy trial. You know, you have these rights because we've tried to set up to the best of our ability, and not a great ability, a justice system that kind of works. You know what I mean? I look at the American justice the way I look at my uncle's car, right? It barely runs, but it does turn on and off. Like, functionally, it is still a car, even if you do have to push it sometimes to really get it started, and you can't trust the brakes. Functionally, it fills the definition of a car. You know? And when I look at the justice system, I'm like, it's a system. But within that system, for as long as we've had it, we've had an individual, whether they did or did not do something, needs to be represented by someone up against the state or the party suing them. And the people that take on these criminal cases, maybe they take them on because they just know our system works best when there's at least someone where it won't be popular, but there's someone to stand on the other side of the thing to make sure that the scales are balanced, that gives an honest effort, even if this person did what they're accused of doing, is a monster. None of that matters, because for the justice system to be a system, we at least have to walk in the door with the scales at balance, right? Innocent until proven guilty, and just something so that we don't all tear each other apart. And then there are people who really believe their clients. They really believe in the innocence of this person. They're like, I know this thing looks bad, and I know from every angle that everyone should just throw their hands up, but I believe this person when they told me that they didn't do it, and so they represent them, right? And neither of those seem to be the case for Diddy. Like that was all mostly theoretical. It's just his lawyer quitting. His lawyer's name, I might be mispronouncing it, but I'm pretty sure it's Anthony Rico, which is one of the most insane last names to have while not wanting to represent Diddy at all. That would be like your lawyer's name being Danny Murder, and he's like, I can't be next to you, though. That's wild that I can't be over here. Because I didn't even know that lawyers, I didn't know that lawyers could quit. Everything I know about the law, I know from like movies and TV and stuff. And usually when you're watching a movie or TV show where someone is having, you know, a butting head scene with their lawyer, it's either the lawyer being like, well, look, if you're not going to be honest with me, you're not going to tell me everything, then you can just find somebody else. And you don't really know what that means, right? Or the person in jail be like, "Oh, you're not even doing your job. You don't even believe me. You know what? You're fired." And then I don't know what that means. You know? But in Diddy's case, this person, I didn't know that you couldn't just quit. I didn't know that you could quit, but I also, if you could quit, I didn't know you couldn't just quit. This is sounding dumber than I'm intending it to sound, but I'm telling you the way I found out. I didn't know that you could quit, and then when I found out you could quit, I didn't know that you couldn't just leave. You have to file a motion to quit. You have to let the judge know I need to quit. You can't just quit the way you quit at Costco. You can't just walk out middle shift. You know what? I'm gonna do something else in my life. You know? And so, he filed a motion so that he could quit, and in the motion he says, "Under no circumstances can I continue." Woof. Under no circumstances can I continue. This man's paying you millions of dollars. Under no circumstances can I continue. And then they you ask, "Hey, why can't you continue?" And he said, "Hey, look, I'm not going to give you any reasons, okay?" People are asking him, "I'm not going to give you any reasons, okay? Because that would violate attorney-client privilege," which I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the law. I don't know many laws at all. But that sounds very guilty to me. That sounds wildly guilty. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the law. That sounds very guilty. It feels like he when you're saying, "Hey, why are you quitting?" "Because I have to." "Why?" "I can't tell you, it would violate attorney-client privilege." Just that sounds like he did it then. That sounds like he did everything then. And the thing that's special about this particular lawyer, Anthony Rico, saying under no circumstances can I continue, is that this guy was Osama bin Laden's lawyer. And it's like that. Sir, what did he do? What did he do to make you, who defended Osama bin Laden, who defended Osama bin Laden in 2001, peak Osama? If there was ever a time where the heat was on Osama bin Laden, it was 2001. And you were right there, like my client. But you were Diddy's lawyer. And you were like, "You know what? Terrorism is one thing. This guy is nasty, okay? That is very nasty. I can't be a part of this. Tonight it doesn't sit well with my soul." Oh. Because I know if you're Diddy's lawyer, you got your work cut out for you. You got a whole lot of work cut out for you. You have to hope a new pandemic breaks out that only affects memory. That's the only way you have a chance, is if almost everybody forgets everything. Because look, once again, most of what I know about the law, most of what I know about the law comes from Law and Order, which means I know nothing about the law. Because in Law and Order, they got to wrap it up pretty quick. They take you on a journey, but they got to wrap it up by the end of the episode. Everything can't be to be continued, And so they got to wrap it up. So if they choose to have any of the episode take place in court, a lot of times what will happen, especially if you get into those close minutes where you're like, "Ooh, it's almost top of the hour. How are we going to resolve this?" Right? They usually just have the prosecutor, like the DA or the ADA, really badger the defendant, right? Like, you did it, didn't you do it? You did it, and you do it again. You looking and doing it right now. You did it, and you did it, and you did it well, and then you did it, and then you got caught, and you wish you were doing it right now. Look at you, you're not even here. You're letting your eyes glaze over. You're in your mind doing it again. Look at him, he's doing it again right now. He's doing it in front of us, and doing it, and doing it, and doing it. Didn't you do it? Just say you did it, because you did it, and we all know that you did it. You'll never not have done it, because you did it, and you know you did it. You do it again if we let you out. You doing it right now in your mind. You did it, and then the other person finally goes, I did it. And usually they freak out and they're like, I can't handle having to say no more than 8 times. I did it. Oh no, the jury. Dick Wolf. And that's not how it actually works in the real world. Like, sure, there are people who testify and then don't help their case. You know, they get up there and they say things that maybe make them look like they're not sorry or make them look more guilty than they're even presumed to be and everything. But you don't really have that with Diddy. Not just because the trial hasn't started, but with Diddy, he did record himself doing everything he's accused of doing, and the FBI has it. That is pretty bad. Only thing worse than doing something is doing it on camera. You know? Even if the entire jury could not see, they could hear. So it's rough. He also has not only the lawyer that Osama bin Laden had, Diddy's got like 3, 4, 5, 6 lawyers. Got a lot of lawyers. I didn't even know you could have that many lawyers. I guess you can have as many lawyers as you want, but like that already. I'm not a lawyer. Glad I'm not on the jury, but that looks very guilty to me. Everyone that I know who's ever gone to jail or been found innocent and didn't go to jail, they had one lawyer. They had one lawyer to be like, hey, it's just me and he didn't do it. That was the whole proceeding, right? They didn't have a soccer team. That's crazy. You got so many lawyers. I bet you that was one of the things that his lawyer said. He was like, look, you're gonna be good. You got 80 other lawyers. Okay, you don't need me. Let me go. Please, I know too much. No, because at a certain point, a certain amount of lawyers, I know that everyone has their specialties, but that looks bad to me, at least. It's like you need that many specialties at once. You accused of that many things that you go ahead and break up the work like a group project. And then to say you have like 5, 6, 7, 8, 92 lawyers, for any one of them to quit does make everything look worse. You know who didn't quit? OJ's lawyer. OJ's lawyer saw everything. He even saw him in the Bronco, and he was still like, I got you. We gonna be good. You know who else did quit? Jeffrey Dahmer's lawyer. He saw that to the end. Ted Bundy didn't even quit defending himself. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. Let me see how this plays out. At any point, he could be like, you know what? I'm making me look extra guilty. Let me go ahead and get some help in here. No, it's mind-blowing. I don't get it. You represent Osama bin Laden. And he was number one in the world. You went for the criminal. You repped the criminal. And whatever we're finding out about Diddy behind closed doors, you were like, not this. Yuck. No. Because you see people in situations where they look incredibly guilty, or they do something very dumb that's almost indefensible, and they still have legal representation that sticks by them. There was a dude who, okay, I shouldn't laugh, but it's one of the dumbest crimes I've ever heard of. So basically, there was this dude who went to break into it was his house. He lived with his mom, right? But he was gonna go ahead and rob the house and try to sell a bunch of stuff off, right? So then he broke into the house and then got caught because I guess police were just happened to drive by, right? And then they see him breaking the window, going into the house, had a key, breaking the window, going into the house, and then coming out with the stuff. They arrest him, and he can't believe. He's like, you have no right to arrest me. And at first, because he's explaining everything, they thought they had no right to arrest him because it was his place where he lived with his mom, even though it was her house, right? And he said, no, you have no right to arrest me because it's daytime. He genuinely believes you could only get arrested for burglary at night. And his lawyer didn't quit. There was a dude who he tried to rob a bank. He ran up in the bank. This was years ago. This dude ran up in the bank and he had his gun out, and he was like, go ahead and empty everything right now. I'll kill everybody. I don't care, swinging the gun and everything. And then the tellers were like, do you want a bag? Because he just came in, just him and the gun, just waving, him and the gun. No bag, no nothing, not even a backpack, just here with the gun. The money now. And they were like, would you like something to hold it with or anything? And he was like, damn right, it's a real gun. And they were like, sir, we asked, would you like a bag? Would you like a bag with the money? We're getting the money right now, but would you like a bag? And he's like, you're right, I've had it. And then they turned to each other and they were like, I don't think he can hear us. And so then they hit the alarm. The alarm going off, this dude's standing there, I'm waiting for my money. They're like, no, we're getting it. They get the money, they get the bag, and before he can even leave the bank, cops roll up. And basically, yeah, he was hearing impaired. And so then he sued them for taking advantage of his disability. And his lawyer stood by him. Do you see how this normally works? That's how it's supposed to go. Your lawyer is supposed to stand by you. They're supposed to be your ride or die. Diddy's lawyer said, no, I like to live and I will not be getting in the car. Oh, that's insanity. That many lawyers. You got 98,000 lawyers. I feel like Diddy just gonna keep hiring lawyers to make sure there's no one left to be on the jury. I don't even know what you would do. You know what I mean? Like, when you look at a situation like this where the whole world knows about Diddy and Diddy's case, right? It's global news, right? And everyone is expecting things to come out during his case. So there's more eyes on it than even when it started. It wasn't just a thing that popped up, oh, Diddy got arrested and then it's over. It's the fact that all of Hollywood could be implicated. That's the feeling that people have, right? So people are going to be watching the trial nonstop for every update possible because maybe your favorite pop star, maybe your least favorite R&B artist, whoever, right, will be involved in this case somehow. And so The whole world will be watching, and the whole world already knows. So how could you not have, in a sense, at least if you're Diddy's defense, a tainted jury? Because how are you going to pull from people who can be impartial, who don't know who Diddy is, right? And then when you pull those people, a judge can say, and judges tell people all the time, look, I don't want you to engage with any media about the case. I don't want you reading any tabloids or social media or anything like that. And don't talk to anybody about the case. No podcast, no whatever, right? No interviews, no nothing. And even if you do that, it's impossible because of the way that we live in the world and the way that we interact with social, to not be bombarded with things about whatever the biggest news topic is. So then how is it possible for Diddy to have a fair jury, right? And his lawyer could have made that case just now. And instead he said, no, I'm getting away from this dude. I cannot be near him at all. That's so bad that the only black lawyer he had was like, nah. You're not gonna get me caught up. Because you know, I think he's just scared. I think he's scared that he's so close to it that he's literally just representation, but he might go to jail. That can happen. I didn't know that could happen, but that can happen. I had never seen it happen in my life until Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, in case you don't remember, was Trump's lawyer. And Trump got in some legal trouble, and somehow Michael Cohen went to jail. That's a superpower. That's a superpower if I've ever seen one. I've never seen someone dodge charges so hard they hit their lawyer in the chest. That's crazy. That's the I'm rubber, you're glue of law. That's insane. Trump had all this legal trouble. He's like, take him, Michael. I'm sure Diddy's lawyer saw that and was like, that could happen to me. I refuse. My last name is already Rico. No, have to get away. Because who takes up for you is huge. Who takes up for you in a situation where you're in the public eye and you have a scandal or you've been found to have done something, right? Whoever takes up for you, they do shift the narrative around you, and they do shift public opinion, either for you or against you, right? Like, let's say in a scenario, right? Completely hypothetical scenario. Let's say I'm driving. I can't. I'm very bad at it. But let's say I'm driving. Once again, this would never happen, all right? I failed my driving test and I have not driven since, okay? I'm very bad. But let's say I'm driving behind the wheel of a car, which I should never be. It's a chair that could kill someone. It is insane that people just get in those and just go. Like, that blows my mind. I will take an Uber or the bus. I am fine without being behind the wheel of a death machine because all it takes is your foot and you could just take anybody out. That's crazy. I don't like being in cars in the front driving. Every time I move, it moves. That's crazy. I don't like that at all. I'll sit in the back. But let's say I'm driving, okay? And I'm driving because maybe my friend is hurt. Maybe my friend's like, oh no, I'm bleeding. No, I've been shot, whatever it is. And then he's like, you have to drive me to the hospital. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll kill us both. And so then I get in the car and then I'm hitting stuff. I'm just, because I don't know which one's the gas and which one's the brake, because honestly, they should be further apart. In my opinion, it should be like go-karts, like right foot gas, left foot brake, and then you can just drive like this. This feels more natural to me. I don't know what y'all are doing with this thing. This feels insane. To see people doing this all the time, ooh, I'ma start, I'ma stop, I'ma start, I'ma stop, whatever. I want to just do it like when you're in a go-kart. I drive so well in a go-kart, not just because I can't go fast enough to murder, but also because I know that left is stop, and that's fine. But sometimes you get a foot, uh-oh, I've hit them both. What does that do? So then I'm in the car and I'm driving, right? And I'm doing it poorly because I do it poorly. Because as I've said before, on stage, to many people, I don't like lefts. So I take rights until I get there, okay? So I'm just gonna take a right and then take a right, take a right. My friend probably gonna bleed out, but I'm taking these rights because a left will kill everybody, right? Now I get to the hospital, let's say I've got to the hospital and I have run over at least 26 people, okay? So I'm being arrested, my friend is hopefully being treated, so I've saved his life, but I am in a lot of trouble. And let's say that Dolly Parton came to my defense, right? Because I'm not famous enough to get in trouble on the news, but there might be a couple of tweets where it's like, do you see that comedian just floored everybody? Just drove on the sidewalk for 6 blocks and took a right and drove on the sidewalk for 4 more blocks and took a right and drove on the sidewalk for 2 blocks and then took a right and then got to the hospital and hit somebody in front of the hospital. And I only hit them because I was trying to hit the brake, but it should be over here. But instead, it's in the middle. I guess. I don't know. I'm never in the car right there. I don't know what y'all do. Why isn't it just pep? Why isn't it just buttons? Let me hit a gas button. That would be nice. To just have the wheel and then a button. Right thumb is gas, left thumb is brake, and it's like a video game, but instead you're just over here. Crazy way to do it, but y'all do you, okay? Let's say, though, that Dolly Parton comes to my defense. Probably never gonna happen. I don't know her, would love to, but let's say. She's like, I know Josh personally, okay? And I know he would never purposely run over 26 people. It must have been something that happened. And you say he was in a car. He said he would never do that. It must be an emergency. Oh, he was trying to help his friend. Y'all, please, if you can find it in your heart, to forgive Josh and his dumb feet. I'm just saying, if Dolly Parton came to my defense, I think that would shift a lot of people's opinion of me. Everyone loves Dolly Parton. Everybody knows Dolly Parton is a sweetheart. And so if she came to someone's defense, you would think, oh, if Dolly sees something in this person, then yeah, maybe they're a good person. Maybe she's right. Maybe he didn't mean to run over 26 people. No. I don't know what Diddy does from here, because the guy who represented Osama bin Laden dipped. I don't know who you get after that. That seemed like the bottom or the top, depending on what your definition of willing to represent evil is. I don't like if the dude who represented Osama is like, I'm a dip, I don't know who else would jump in, you know? Giuliani? Okay, well, he lost his license. I'm positive he lost his license. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's the only one who can do it. I have no idea. Because someone did come to Diddy's defense in the wake of Diddy losing that representation, you know, close proximity to Diddy's lawyer being like, I can't do this anymore. Someone did come to Diddy's defense publicly. Unfortunately, it was Kanye West. In a tweeting tirade, Kanye West went on an absolute rampage. He called himself a Nazi. He posted a bunch of like anti-Semitic stuff. He said all sorts of things. And then he said, by the way, free Puff. I think if you're Diddy in jail, you're like, this is worse. That is worse. I did not know it could get worse than the Osama bin Laden lawyer leaving me. But this is bad. This is very, very bad. That was me kind of like doing a little bit of rapping the way that Diddy does it because he's not good at it. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, this is bad. This is worse because he's calling himself a Nazi and then he's like also that guy. think of that guy and me together right now. Think of when I want you, when you think of me, I want you to think of him, all right? But who knows? Maybe when the lawyer who represented Osama bin Laden dips, maybe the only person left to represent you is Ye. I think that's, I could see that. I could see Ye showing up to court being like, Your Honor. I rest my case.
Give it up for Josh Johnson! Before I came here in San Francisco, there was a pirate. No, it gets worse. There was a pirate threatening a tourist from Brazil with a blowtorch, right? Which, as a pirate, you really shouldn't even have, because you're supposed to be on boats, you're supposed to be around a lot of wood. You shouldn't even have a blowtorch. That's not even a useful weapon for you, right? It should have been a sword. It should have been like a flint pistol, something. That would have made sense. If he had a flint pistol and he pulled it on him, even in the streets of San Francisco, I'd be like, he's on theme. But a full-on blowtorch, how, right? And when I tell you that this man was a pirate, I don't just mean that he was dressed like a pirate. I think he was a pirate. Like, I think he didn't seem like land was treating him well, okay? And so now he has a blowtorch, right? And he's cursing out this person who apparently is this tourist from Brazil, which also, if you're a tourist, I'm not saying don't go to San Francisco, but I'm saying if you are an international tourist coming to the United States, especially for the first time, and the first thing that happens when you get here is a pirate. A pirate roll up on you with a blowtorch, which in any language is confusing, by the way. Like, you don't need to be speaking English to understand that this is a wild scenario that's happening right now, right? And so, they're over here arguing. Now, the person who really saved the day was someone that worked at a coffee shop that saw what was happening outside, right? And so then they ran up and they were sneaking up behind the pirate, right? Getting real. Yeah, and it was one of those sneak ups where I was like, ooh, if he turned around, you cooked. Like, if he turned around, because he was quick with it, but he was very smooth with all his movements. But it took him a while to like get close, right? Like he was. You know what it looked like to me? Okay, like when you go to the zoo and something went wrong, and so then one of the zookeepers is like trying to get them back in the cage. Or they trying to like let them know that that kid in front of you, that's not food, but they getting close real slow. Like they're just like, okay, buddy, all right. It's because you know what it is? You can tell the level of danger somebody knows they're in as they're approaching by the hip movement. Because he wasn't just walking up like sneak up, he really like was pivoting. As he was getting in, he was like, all right. Okay, all right. It feels like if you use hips only to move forward, nobody will hear you. It's like almost a universal thing when people try to sneak up, That's why you don't see, you like, that's not how your grandparents sneak up or whatever. Because if they tried it, like if your grandma tried to sneak up behind you real good and everything, you just be hearing. So she's like, I'm gonna have to lean, right? But anyway, this dude is like sneaking up behind him, getting real close, and in an instant, snatches the blowtorch and runs off, right? So now we sort of neutralized the main threat. But the pirate was like, you think I need that blowtorch? I'm a pirate in San Francisco. On the streets in 2024, I don't need weapons. My presence alone is a threat. And so then somebody's filming the whole thing, which normally I'm like, why do people do this? Why do people film instead of help? You know what I mean? Like, why do people just from afar and then they're filming and this is another person who could have been helping that because that guy's sneaking up by himself. He's just, you know what I mean? But then as someone who watches all the videos, I do get it. Like, I do. You want to criticize it, but if it wasn't for this guy filming, I wouldn't know this was happening. This didn't make the news. It's just regular San Francisco 5 p.m., right? So then, you know, sneaking up, snatches the blowtorch, runs off, right? Now, as he's running off, now this was almost cinematic. You couldn't have planned this better. Because as the coffee shop worker who was running off with the blowtorch passes the camera, like right as his head past the camera, you see that the pirate had already started punching, right? So it was just boom like that, right? Now this guy tries to roll with it, and he had good form, especially for a tourist that is being approached by a pirate. I would have just been hit. I would have just been like I don't think I would have moved. Like, this dude really rolled with the punch. Now this is when the two nudists come into the picture, right? Because there were some nudists that were there anyway. They were gonna be naked no matter what. So when the two nudists come up, they're like, this is what we do. We didn't get, because a part of you, if you don't know anything about the culture, you thinking like, oh, they see a pirate, they're like, it must be safe to get naked. They just let you do whatever you want. So they were naked anyway, right? So then one of the nudists sees what just happened, sees that this tourist has been assaulted by this pirate. So then he run up and come in with his, it was really beautiful sequence, because basically the pirate was like, bow, right? And then the nudist comes up and it's like, bow. And then when the nudist swings, okay, so the nudist hit so hard that he did lose his footing, right? So then him and the pirate both fall. And now this is the first point in time where the pirate looks like somebody in this scenario is more uncomfortable than me, right? Like because you see, okay, so the pirate punches that dude and he's clearly like having his own journey, right? But what snaps him back to reality in a moment's time is not only being hit by the nudist, but when they both fall, you can see the pirate. Okay, so the pirate his back is to the camera and you can't really hear him, but you can hear this little like, and then him and the nudist are getting up. Now, if you think, I try to put myself in the mindset of everybody involved in the video, right? Because there's a lot going on, you know? We already got this hero who snatched the blowtorch. Now, this person, we don't know how long they've lived in San Francisco. We don't know how long they worked at the coffee shop. We don't know how long they've known this pirate, right? But the way they sprung into action, you could tell it was like, I have to do something, right? They took it upon themselves. Now, as the tourist, I've already mentioned, you being accosted by this pirate, that's weird enough to make a person freeze, right? But for a second, I want all of us to put ourselves in the mind of the pirate, all right? Because the pirate, we don't know exactly what was going through this individual's mind, but we know it was something to do with maybe this tourist, maybe he thinks this tourist stole some of his booty, maybe he thinks maybe the tourist is standing on the X that he's trying to dig right now. We don't know what's going through his mind, okay? All we know is that he feels emboldened enough and passionate enough to start swinging. And as soon as he starts swinging, he gets a right cross from out of nowhere. He doesn't know anybody else is in this situation with him except this guy. And so then he gets his right cross, so he fall, and the person that hit him also fall. And then when he looks forward, he sees a naked man. So you can see, even on the pirate, like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. This is too much. Wouldn't that be funny if the pirate was like, I'm a Christian, I don't really... But the pirate is also like getting up and everything. Now, the nudist was fast. So the nudist got up before the pirate really knew what happened, because you could tell the pirate calibrating. Like, when did he get naked? Was he always naked behind me? You could tell the pirate got other stuff on his mind. So he tried to get up, but he's also like, when did this guy... And so then the nudist gets up, and the nudist tries to get another lick in before the pirate can get up, because to be fair to everybody involved, you don't know how quick and strong this pirate is, right? Like, is this a PCP pirate? Or is this a meth pirate? Or is this a crack pirate? We don't know. There are categories. And we don't know which one he falls into. You got your first lucky shot on him, and that didn't knock him out, so now you're in trouble, right? So the nudist gets up quick, and when the nudist, okay, he goes to do this thing that you really only see happen in like bus fights, where the pirate's still on the ground, and he tries to do a little like, wow, like he tries to do like an uppercut as he's getting up, and I think he misses. He either missed or it didn't faze the pirate at all. He probably got hit and was still like, where did this guy come from? Because also the nudists were white. And so it's on top of seeing a naked man, you just seeing like, you seeing shades of pink coming at you. Because you got to remember, this dude is ready to fight. So you're not in a regular fight with another dude. Like, also, by the way, I'm pretty sure if I remember the video correctly, the tourist has not left, but he has taken... He's taking the position of an audience member. He just like, man, it's crazy. And so then the pirate tries to get that extra lick in, and I think he missed and everything. And then the pirate, they have a couple more little scuffles, because you can tell that the pirate trying to like fight, but he's not trying to get too close. Which is, look, as far as a tactic, because there's a lot that people don't know about martial arts. There's a lot people don't know about self-defense. And it didn't occur to me until I saw that video that man to man, for real, like if you ever in a fight and you don't really want to fight, and you know your opponent doesn't have a gun, right? It's just man on man fisticuffs, right? It would help to get naked. I think the level to which somebody want to fight you goes down the more naked you get. You know what I mean? Like if we have, like you bigger than me, if we have problems right now and you coming at me, but I'm just, like that switches things up for you. Because now you like, what am I going to punch? Like, am I going to... Because even if you win and you don't really want to, even if you punching, you just don't really want the risk of touching balls like that. Like if you... Because let's say we going head body, but then I go high and you go low, and now all of a sudden my whole knuckles get grazed. But you see, y'all groaning, but I'm right. You don't want to fight now. Next time somebody try you in the street, fellas, just start. Because dudes already take their shirt off. The problem is they not stopping. That's the problem. They're not stopping the whole fight by just taking the rest off. Because the shirt is like, you're not going to be that encumbered by the shirt, right? Might as well drop the pants.
Yeah.
Even take the shoes off. Really confuse them, right?
Yeah.
And so you can tell that the pirate really doesn't want to like fully get in there. And so the whole thing starts to just fall apart. And the whole time I was thinking like, wow. I was trying, once again, put myself in the mindset of everybody involved. Like we went through what the tourist must have been thinking, what the pirate must have been thinking. Even the nudist. Nudist had to have something going on in his head to be like, I have to help. This guy has a blowtorch. And even though somebody just took it from him, he's clearly trying to attack this person. He just attacked this person. I need to do something, right? I should call somebody. But you don't have any pockets. I wonder if he reached for it too. Like, we need to get the police. I guess it's me then. Then he ran in like a Superman with his balls out, right? But what I really can't shake is what must have been going on in that second nudist mind. Because both nudists, they were together, by the way. I don't want you to think in the story there was one nudist and then another nudist. They knew each other, right? Maybe they were just walking, enjoying a day, sunning. And then they see all this yelling going on. What was that? What could be happening? And then they see this guy has a blowtorch to his side. They're like, oh, I hope he doesn't intend to use it. And then, they see this guy strike, and then, first nudist just jumps in, starts swinging. Doesn't really have his footing right, doesn't really have his hands ready, but he's trying. That second nudist must have been like, damn. I think they got it. Like, I think they good, you know what I mean? I do like how, I'm not saying they waited in a way that I don't mean this person was being courageous for stepping in, but I do understand the self-preservation that takes place where you wait to jump in till that blowtorch is gone because I'm naked. That blowtorch might burn that tourist, but it would change my life. Yeah. No, it's wild stuff. Oh, I also want to say real quick, thank y'all so much for coming to the show. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for an amazing weekend and everything. I don't know, when y'all might have seen me for the first time or anything, or what maybe video it was. I've been posting to YouTube for like a year now, and I started it a year ago where I was just like, I was like just sharing like my thoughts on things, sharing my jokes, feelings on stuff, and I appreciate it because it really, I don't know, that was the thing that really turned everything around, and I got to, in some ways, like meet you, and now I'm getting to meet you for real, and I appreciate this opportunity because it's like, I don't know when you may have seen your first video, or if you even know who I am. You might be like, she brought me. Like, that's also very fair. I will not be offended at all, right? But I appreciate you, for real. I appreciate you taking a chance on me and coming here to have a good time and letting me talk to you and everything. I've done lots of shows that were not. I've done shows where they didn't know I was coming, right? I've done shows where they booked me to do the show, and then I show up, and they're like, "Oh, we also gonna play the Blackhawks game behind you." And I'm like, oh, does anybody want a show? He's like, no, it's a surprise. Don't surprise. So I've definitely done shows that were, on the rough side because people weren't there to hear what I was gonna say. And I get it. I do get it. That's why I don't take anything lightly, that I get to be here in front of you. And everything that I say, I'm not always gonna be perfect, but I try to be thoughtful about what I'm saying, And I think sometimes when you bring something up, because you do comedy, people think whatever you bring up, you're making light of to trash it, or that's why sometimes people get uncomfortable when you talk about anything and you're a comic. They're like, oh, this person's gonna be shitty, right? They're gonna be shitty about a thing that I care about. And just because I'm talking about something doesn't mean I'm belittling it, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that I take very seriously, but I still feel like I need to talk about because conversation is important, And oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks. We'll see. It's been a scary day. It has. It's like, I hope you're not finding out from me. But someone at a rally, someone, don't do that. I'm just telling you what happened. At a rally, someone shot at Trump while he was doing his rally, and I still don't know. There's so much we don't know, but some people say it was a bullet and some people say it was glass, but either way, he got a cut over his ear and the person that was behind him got shot and they died, right? And they've apparently shot the suspected gunman and everything, and it's just, it's one of the wildest days in a long time, because there are days that are like checkpoints throughout American history. Like we had a birth as a country, and then you can set the checkpoints wherever you want, but there are big ones. There are big ones like the country starts and then there's a civil war later, right? And the Civil War is a turning point for the country forever. You know what I mean? There are people that even now say like we're more divided than ever, and I like to remind them that we did have a civil war. Yeah, I mean, like then ever, then you need to read a history book. Then ever. Ever? No, not ever. So you have something like the turning point that happens due to a civil war, which even now, even to this day, hundreds of years, there are people that are hundreds of years removed from the people leading up to the Civil War that were in their family, that they still have differing opinions on like the Civil War, why it happened, how it went down, what should have happened, right? And then you have Lincoln's assassination. That's another turning point for the country forever, right? Because once things are put on the table with time, they're never taken off. There's always something that could happen, And then you fast forward more, and we've had turning points. We've had really scary days. And people can belittle it as much as they want or whatever, but we've had times where we're like, oh, are we a country anymore? And so you see those moments like that, right? And there are people who are even now, they're afraid, right? They're afraid that there's going to be another version of the Civil War, right? Because the people that hate people so much throughout this country for whatever political affiliation for whatever they say. This is the thing about being online as well. When you go around, I go everywhere. I try to go everywhere. And I'm trying to meet people everywhere. And when I meet these people, almost all the people, and some of them are having a bad day, some of them have had a past, but most people, pretty pleasant, right? It's easy to forget that online. Because online, people have the safety to be a troll, and there's also bots. So you could go through your life and bump into people all day and have nothing but beautiful experiences. But then you get online and you post a picture of yourself because you're happy about, maybe something that you bought and you look good in. And there's all the comments under it. Why are you wearing that skirt, bitch? It's like that is happening in real life, but that is not real life. Right? The people that you meet in person are real life. The people that you meet every day, that's real life, right? So I'm not saying it's real life as in it doesn't matter. I'm specifically saying that like the grace that you give in person is that's our better nature. That's what we would hopefully have all the time. It's being online that makes people monsters to you before you meet them. You look at those pinpoints, and there are people that are worried about us falling into the trap of another civil war, like so much hate, right? And I personally don't think that's gonna happen. I'm not just hopeful, I actually don't think that's gonna happen because if I'm being honest with everyone in here, we don't have the grit. I'm not saying that there aren't people with guns. I'm not saying that people have murderous intentions for their fellow Americans. I'm saying that as a country, we would get tired too fast. We would. Like it would be day 8 and there'd be people in America wake up on whatever side you on being like, again? No, I'm not saying that violence is impossible, and I pray it doesn't happen. I pray even more now that it doesn't happen than I did before, but I think that it's not going to split up the way that it did. You got to remember, the country was full of colonies, and travel was difficult. So when the country split and we had our full-on civil war, it was a different time truly, right? And now you have family that lives here, you have family that lives over there, you have family who's moving. Because we're too interconnected now in a way that I think is good, in a way that actually forms a union, right? We're quilted together now. So no matter how you split us up, whether it's north and south, east and west, eventually, whatever side of the war you're on, eventually someone would be like, I just want a good taco. I believe what I believe in, whatever, but I cannot have another bagel. I am stopped up. For my health, I can't do it. And we don't know anything yet. Like we really don't. Everyone's talking, right? It just happened. So everybody is talking, Happened like 6 hours ago, and everybody's talking, everybody's speculating. There's already the conspiracy theories, there's already like some vitriol started. We don't know, and we can't act like we know just because we feel a lot, right? Because this is the other thing. You talk about pinpoints in time, you talk about checkpoints. Civil War then leads to Lincoln's assassination. That's another checkpoint that we cannot come back from, because once things are on the table, they're on the table for the rest of time. That's why you have to be careful what you say and what you do, And so then you fast forward even more. It makes me think about the assassination attempt on Reagan. Because Reagan still is one of those figures that's like either beloved or absolutely despised, right? The policies they put forward and the aftermath afterward, people feel how they feel about it, right? But when you think about that person that shot Reagan, right? We were in a different time of division back then. It was still pretty, relatively civil, relatively ideal by today's standards, right? But let's say we had lost our minds then and been like, oh, this is a plot, this is an inside job, this is a conspiracy. Let's say we lost our minds when Reagan got shot, and then you actually talk to the shooter, and then you find out why he did. He's like, oh, I just wanted Jodie Foster to like me. Imagine that, though. Imagine if we had lost our minds. Imagine if we had had some sort of civil war, some sort of backlash, some sort of retribution over here, all for somebody who's like, did Jodie Foster see it, or just trying to find out what Jodie doing? That's my thing. That's my sincere hope, right? I'm hopeful, and I hope you know that I pray for all of you. I pray for all of us, like I do. And even if you don't subscribe to whatever metaphysical subscription you hold, right? Because at the end of the day, we really are all Americans. I know it doesn't feel that way, but every one of us, just by the reaction that y'all had when I told you that somebody died, you know that we all still have our humanity. We don't want to see anything bad actually happen to anybody, because you don't know that person. You don't know anything about the person that died today, but you know that they were an American, and you know they were a human being, right? And so I think that what I've decided when it happened, and I can only speak for me, I'm not going to tell you what to do. No matter anyone listening to me, you can do what you want. But when I saw it happen, I decided in that moment that this right here is where I'm going to plant my feet, right? I'm not going to let this make me radical one way or the other. I'm not going to lose my mind, because we don't know. And two, the humanity we show to each other just in passing, that's really important. And honestly, all this is gonna be funny again in a minute. I haven't forgotten, like I didn't forget. Like I wasn't like, let me get him with the yuck yucks, now lock the door. Like I just hope, like my sincere hope is that this can be the thing that like scares us straight. You know what I mean? Like this can be the thing. It's like, oh, actually, you know what? I don't actually want any violence. I don't want anything bad to happen. You know what I mean? Because they're snowballs, right? So I just, I think about that, and I think about, if you're not familiar with the show Scared Straight, basically what they do is they take kids, right? Then kids who are pretty bad, right? They're like bad kids, and then and the kids are very hard to root for, because by the beginning of the episode, they're always like, I punched my grandma in her face, right? And then they take them to jail, and they spend a weekend at jail, because it really just takes a weekend. They spend a weekend at jail with the inmates, and then they try to do what they do at home with the inmates. Like, I punched my grandma in the face, and then one of the inmates is like, kiss me. And it's just, it changes, right? It changes the vibe. And I'm not saying it works for every kid, by the way. I'm not saying that this is a foolproof thing. We can talk about child psychology however you want, but I'm saying for the kids that it does work for, it was actually something bad happening that woke them up, right? It wasn't just me coming to my senses one day. It was like, this is rock bottom. You don't just wait for rock bottom. You don't just try to fall until you find it. You can decide it for yourself. This feels like granite. I think I'll stop here, right? But I also know that, like, sometimes if you don't say anything, if the thing goes unsaid, people think it goes unthought, right? And if you don't reach out to people don't know you care about them. I care truly. And people are going to feel the way they feel about me or feel about me talking about this, but I care about every single American in a serious way. We're a country, and we're a country of people that are different. We're a family of people that sometimes hate each other. That's what family does most of the time. I went and got a dentist through unconventional means. Basically, my dentist was handing out coupons. You know the little door knocker coupons that they put on the doorknob? Okay, so my dentist had been putting those on the doors in my neighborhood, and so I came home one day and I grabbed it and came inside. It was that and 2 pizza coupons. And I was reading it. I really don't even remember what the deals were, but this is when everybody was trying to make everything a coupon, like in 2013, 14, when everybody was like Groupon was big and all this stuff like that. I don't remember what the deals were, but it was like 2 teeth, get 1 free. Whatever it was, I don't remember. All I remember is there was a teeth cleaning on there. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go get my teeth cleaned at my new dentist, because if this dentist has coupons, this is the dentist for me. I have no money. And I didn't have dental or anything, so I was like, I need any break I can get. Now, I went there, and the dental assistant was very professional. She was very good, and that's my thing, is that any professional of any type, you want them to be confident in their competence, right? You want that's why you lean on them, because they look like they know what they're doing, and they have the confidence somebody that knows what they're doing. So you just leave it to them, right? If there's any point where you have to question that, it ruins the whole. I've been on the bus before where the bus driver looked lost. And I'm sitting, I'm like, why is he checking his phone? But I'm in this dentist office. The dental assistant is amazing, and she's very quick, and she's asking me the questions. They even do the X-ray of my teeth, where they put the thing in their mouth. They're like, doo, 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 doo. That's your teeth, right? She did all that stuff, and then my dentist comes in, and my new dentist, walks in. And he is very clearly missing a tooth. And it's not like a wide smile, back of the mouth chewing tooth. This is one of the stars of the show. This is one of the teeth that when you smile goes like, ba-da, And so he missed, I don't know how to describe this, but he missing the tooth hard. He might as well be missing 2 teeth the way he missing this tooth, because it's not a center tooth, but it's one of those teeth where, because it's missing, I don't know how big it should be, so it feel like he missing the whole front row. It's very distracting, right? And so then he come in, and I don't know if it was recent that he lost his tooth or something, but the space in relation to his tongue is causing some slippage, and it's making him lisp, right? And so he walks in, and he's like, "Hi, how are you? Have a seat." Because I stood up to shake his hand and everything. He's like, "Yeah, have a seat." And I'm like, and then this dude is like, so he's sitting next to me, right? And he's talking, and he's asking me all the questions. And then so, how much do you floss? And this, so I was getting upset in the chair because, he's asking me, how much do you floss? And I'm like, oh, I floss every day. He's like, are you sore? And I'm like, I got so upset. I didn't say this out loud. I said it in my head, but I was like, okay, but which one of us is missing? You know what I mean? Like, how dare you question what I'm doing over here when I'm working with a full set? You know what I mean? Like that. That's why. Are you Thor? Like, I was like, that's unacceptable. Cause he was getting snippy with it, which I didn't like. That's attitude, right? And so then I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And then I don't like how he's going about it, because you know how the dentist, well, sometimes the dental assistant will do it, but sometimes the dentist specifically will go through with the floss again and go over the dental assistant's work, if they didn't feel like they did it right. And then he was grabbing all the tools, you know, like the little sharp, little poking, the tools of the devil, right? He was grabbing all of them, and he was in my mouth and everything. And I don't know how to describe this, but I don't like, he being rough with my mouth, you know what I mean? And he being rough in a way that's like, you know, like when you driving and somebody got a beat up car, so they driving reckless because they don't care. They don't care anymore what happens to their car, so they might as well bust up your car because their car's already doomed, right? And you'll see it'll be like a busted tail light and just no bumper at all, and they taking some real risks without turning lights on, right? They won't have that blinker on at all. They just be picking whatever lane they want because they're like, hit me, I dare you, right? Hit me. You might knock something back right. You'll be doing me a favor. Go ahead and hit me, okay? And so that's how he's being in my mouth, because he's really like going hard, and then he gets to the tooth on me that he missing, and he really give it a, and I'm like, that's not okay, you know? Just because it's over for you doesn't mean, like I still have a future, you know what I mean? Like, how dare you do that? And so then, you know, I don't know if it's because I'm young and I'm just like not really thinking, or because I'm awkward in a lot of social situations anyway, but finally I was just like, so what happened? And then this man had the nerve to go, what, this? What else could I mean, sir? No, there's something on your lip. No. He's like, oh, this? I was like, yeah. And then he takes the tools out, you know, the little hose that they have in your mouth, and sucking up all. Puts that to the side, puts the tools down, puts his hands on his knees, and goes. Got sullen, right? I felt bad for asking. He got really quiet and sullen. He was like, I hoped you wouldn't notice. Sir, you came in here teeth first. Smiling in my face, and you thought I wouldn't notice one of the main teeth.
Rude.
I can't stress this enough. Like, it was one of the teeth that if he committed a crime, that would be how they got him. Like, that's... Do you know what I mean? Like if he stole something tonight, they'd be like, it was this one that was... You know what I mean? Didn't even have a gold tooth in there. Didn't even have something to be like, oh, I'm a different type of dentist, right? It didn't... Just avoid. And it was big enough I could see through, like I could see his throat. Like it was... And he got sullen, and he was like, it's actually recent. I was out with some friends. And this is my thing. Okay, like, I know he telling me the story because it wasn't even my business, so he didn't have to tell me anything. So I know he's doing me a favor by telling me the story, but I swear to you, this man hit every S possible in this story. He didn't avoid any of them. I was like, what are you doing right now? Bro, every single ass? That's crazy. So he's like, so I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. I was out with some friends, and we were watching the sports on the little sports center they have with all the TVs and everything. There was one of my friends that I hadn't seen in a very long time from college. It was very serendipitous, and I was like, that... Don't do that. You didn't need that one at all. That was... You could have said fortunate. That... And so then, you know, we're sitting there, and you know, I was having a good old time. I was sucking the sauce off my fingers and everything. And then there were some guys a few booths away that I would start jawing at one of my friends. I guess they knew him from his past or something. And so then they would start talking, you know, over at us. And so then, you know, we went over there, and you know, they were out here talking shit, and it's like truly some of the most Chicago shit I've ever heard in my life, because these like out here talking shit, and then you know I went ahead and I popped one in their mouth, and then he popped me right back, and I swallowed, so that's why I'm missing the tooth. And I heard that, and I was like, oh, is that all? Okay, go ahead. Go back to work. You a good dentist. You was not a good fighter. I get you. Okay. Yeah. Maybe next time, let them talk, you know?
Mira.